We're just going to play the bowl all evening.
Oh, I hope that'd be great.
That'll be it. Salutation, my beloved swimmers, doing the backstroke in the ocean of source oneness, in and through the middle of the star tetrahedron, which is the backstroke, the dive, the deep dive, the full Monte. Can we say the full Monte? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Not the full Monte. Upper triangulation, divine power. Lower triangulation, divine sacred love. As they are united in the mystical marriage, it then opens in the very center of this triangulation of vortex into the area of the heart chakra. And from out of its source emanates up and out. So source isn't out there. If we're looking for God or looking for source, it's going to be a long journey for you. It's inside, always have been and always will be. It's like a bubble or balloon that's being blown up. It's blown up from inside out. And what is expanding the bubble is breath, but breath is spirit, breath is source. And so you are source, and you are literally expanding your awareness from inside out. So there's nowhere to go. So relax. There's only the ocean of eternal oneness. And when the Big Bang occurred, consciousness simply exuded itself in this massive opening through a dark hole, which from out of the void. And then consciousness was then able to create a positive. That was the first impulse from out of the void, positive. And then it created a negative reflection. And so the positive and negative literally created the atom of helium. And there was no light yet within the universe. There was simply hydrogen, one proton, one neutron, swimming within the vast openness of space, if you will. And then consciousness, which is mind, which is part of who and what you truly are, began to gather the hydrogen together. And of course, hydrogen is just a gas. You can't see it, but when you bring enough of it together and it finally fuses, it then ignites. And now for the first time, light was in the universe. And as light was eminent, photons began to emanate out. And they emanated out in waves of energy. And so everything in creation, the entire ocean of the world of source, is simply an ocean of waves, vibration, a multiplicity of vibrations, and they then move back and forth upon each other and create a crescendo of more waves and more opportunities. But the ocean is vast and unlimited. And then, of course, over time, Source was able then to pull photons of light together and through consciousness begin to formulate physical materiality. And of course, we are the individuals in mass consciousness, mind you, that were there beginning to hone and refine and gather the first star particles. When the stars exploded, those particles of dust, and created the earthly sphere. And then we were able to begin to help architect in consciousness the first one-celled animals that finally evolved to be this magnificent being you are. Literally a whole conglomeration of walking amoebas, all filled with water. And so you came out of the ocean, you are the walking ocean. Everything has always been and always will be the vibration of source. This great ocean of God's source energy, it is only just a vibration. And we know in quantum physics, which you can look up on the internet, that they have done studies that they can watch a photon move through, creation. But then when they observe it, when they literally bring their attention, observe the wave photon, it then collapses into an actual sphere of materiality. And so it is mind or consciousness that is collapsing the wave form that we are swimming within 24/7 into what we believe and what we feel and what we think we are and what we've been programmed to believe we are. And as we then have that consciousness within us, we then collapse the wave forms around us into materiality. And then there is mass agreements that we will then have trains and planes and automobiles. But then there are individuals who master the star tetrahedron, and they finally formulate it to be the mystical marriage. And then they know how to open the doorway once again back into the eternal ocean. And they simply call forth once again the wave form of loaf and fish, and then see it and feel it with such clarity, it literally collapses into waveform of ocean, or excuse me, fish. It already is ocean. It's not going to recollapse, mind you. So everything is simply this ocean, and it's our belief system and what we are feeling that creates it to be then the material world that we experience. I was talking with a student today earlier that there are no really food shortages. There are no shortages of any kind. No power shortages, no food, no anything. It's simply the belief system that we have to work hard to make it happen. You have to go out there and drill for it and find it and do it. But it's simply then that's our belief system that has been collapsing the waveform of creation into those belief systems. And then we have agreements that we will play within it. And we will then be part of it. But now there are so many of us waking up within this ocean of mass agreements, and we're beginning to question, well, that doesn't seem right. Well, what about the oneness of life? What about source as a waveform? What about who I really am at the deepest core of my being, the great love soul I am? And so we begin then to search out and find, gee, I can begin to hone and refine my consciousness, my mind, synonymous terms. Now, mind is not brain. Brain is the computer that when the mind collapses it, the brain computer then drives it into particular scenes and events and taste and touch and smell that we then experience, but it's simply a computer. Mind is the great being of consciousness that you are, that collapses the waveform both consciously from someone who is enlightened, but for most people, it is unconscious. They're simply following along in the footsteps of beliefs that have been given to them over eons of time on planet Earth, which is why we're breaking out of that so rapidly and so beautifully right now. And we begin to realize, as I master the star tetrahedron, I then find out what true power is. It's not making or doing or wanting or manipulating. That's the paradigm that we're coming out of. And when we were wanting and making and manipulating, we collapsed things into our reality that we had to make and manipulate and move around in order to create something. That's the agreement. But now we're finding that really the true masculine is simply the focusing of attention. Focus the mind and then see and feel what you want the world, the emotions, to collapse the waveform into, and that's the divine feminine. The fallen feminine that we're coming out of was lost emotionality, fear and loneliness and powerlessness and sadness. And then the feminine was bartered and overshadowed by masculine manipulation and control in order to be good enough to be part of the play of creation. Again, mass agreements, but really part of the great lie. because the divine feminine is clear imagination, precise, impeccable feeling, love. And as those qualities are then established within you, and the open doorway is now established through the star tetrahedron, spirit arises forth, and you simply imagine and feel what would be the joy, simply the joy, not what's expected of me, not what do I think I should be doing, not what the world wants. Because if the doorway is open and you're coming from joy, you're coming from love. And love supports the evolution of all life. That's why the divine feminine is so important now as we're moving forth into this new age. The divine feminine is love, loving unconditionally, not judging, criticizing. When there's judgment and criticism, it collapses the waveform, the great ocean, into that which we want to judge and that which we want to criticize and that which makes us angry. And we say, well, I'm a victim. And so now we're going to begin to collapse the waveform into victimhood. It's all just an illusion. It's just consciousness in its perception of what it has been taught to believe and feel. And most of those beliefs have been given to us from the time of 0 to 7, conception to 7, when the child is simply a feeling entity. This individual I was also working with today, born into a very kind of semi-wealthy family, but wealth was their God. Wealth was what they really were kind of seeking all the time. And the mother, even though she was, again, somewhat of a loving mother, she also felt that then it wasn't materiality that was really the key. But everyone around her was pushing that paradigm upon her. And so there was quite a little of grief and sadness within her. And so the young boy thought, well, if I can take some of that grief and sadness away from mom, maybe she'll be able to love me unconditionally. But that didn't happen. It simply was then impregnated, infused into the body of this little boy. And he felt, growing up now, women can't love me. I'm not worthy. They will simply reject me no matter how much I try and save them or make them feel better. And we talked about the only way to change that paradigm is to bring forth that which originally created the little boy. The magic of every soul simply takes a part of itself and drops it down into time space. Magic is there. Unlimited possibilities. But then beliefs and mother and father and the sadness and the anger of dad, these simply begin to overshadow, and now the child is covered in ignorance. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It's simply for the soul fertilizer to help it grow when it again reaches adulthood. If one goes back and feels all those emotions without judgment or criticism or dislike, and then slips through them with gentle love and no judgment, you will always find the part of yourself that wasn't loved unconditionally. And now you are standing beside that childlike part of you, with a golden radiance of the divine soul you are that is now there, and literally acknowledging to this childlike part, I am your mother, father, sacred divine. I am your original creator. And the emotion then, like smoke, disappears. And there's an acknowledgement, I am lovable, not by the world, but by that which I simply am. I am source. I am love. And that's when we truly then begin to hone and refine the star tetrahedron. In meditation, we learn to focus the mind into a place of silent attention, the divine masculine. We begin to feel in our emotions, the feelings, the emotions that didn't really serve us. And rather than disliking them and judging them or literally emanating them out and have other people around us demonstrate that belief system that I'm unlovable or I'm sad or I'm lonely, we acknowledge, oh, it's not you. There's something within me that is emanating that. And then the divine love and the focus of the divine masculine reach down through that shadow, that fertilizer, that when you learn it to embrace it and find the child, you then have mastery over powerlessness. You have mastery over loneliness and sadness and grief and blame and shame. And so you're able to stand free in this three-dimensional world and observe all those emotions and feelings without judgment. Because if you judge it, you're going to collapse it into something that you feel must be a victim to what you are. Something's going to take your power away. Something's going to deny you. Something's going to rob your prosperity. But again, a belief system that you're collapsing simply the waveform of source into things and experiences to give you information about how to continue to grow and unfold and refine the masculine and refine the divine feminine and come into your Christed nature. Christ is not a person. It's the mechanism of manifestation, the star tetrahedron, power and love united. I powerfully acknowledge the divine being I am of light. I acknowledge the feeling of love and imagination that are so clear and alive within me. And now, through my meditation, I'm uniting those within me. I feel the sacred doorway within my heart opening, and I can literally breathe source into this dimension. That's the entire sequencing of what we do together. Imagining the star tetrahedron, focusing attention upon it, and then with our breath work, literally seeing and feeling, collapsing source from inside out into liquid, golden, sparkling, effervescent light that dances through the cells and tissues of our body, that dances out into the world and begins to change the vibration of the world, not by wanting to change it or needing to change it, that's manipulation, but simply turning the light up brighter and brighter, which is going to illuminate more darkness that we can view. And if we don't judge it or criticize it, it has no power. But as the light is becoming brighter and the darkness is beginning to be quite illuminated on the planet, so many people are now judging and criticizing and disliking what's going on. But if they do that, they're then helping to collapse the waveform of source into more things that are out of balance, more things they need to fight to change. Fighting to change does no thing. The individual Jesus, who was the master of the star tetrahedron, could look through the darkness, those things that overshadow people so terribly. And he simply looked through it in non-judgment and acknowledged the source that is the waveform within of perfection. And they became illuminated. But then he said, go forth and sin no more, because you'll simply collapse the world once again into things that cause you travail and sickness and degradation in your life. It's all you. And we have great compassion when we're still lost in that world of illusion. So we're not being heartless, but at the same time, we're saying, yes, I have compassion, but here are the tools to stand up. Here are the tools to change. Here are the ways that you can make your life and the life of those around you much more beautiful and splendid. So that's the work of spirituality. Spirituality is the acknowledgement that spirit, the wave form of creation, lives everywhere. This couch, this body, this room, everything is simply the wave form, the ocean, the eternal ocean of God's waveform that our consciousness is collapsing into form. And I'm quite happy that my consciousness can collapse the waveform into this couch, because my consciousness cannot yet collapse the waveform into me simply floating in midair. I'm looking forward to that great collapse, but it's not here yet. And so when it is, I won't have the couch anymore. I'll just float in midair and chit chat with you. So it's pretty exciting what is really happening and the possibilities that are now before us, because we are learning to really master this dimension, the dimension that we thought was so difficult and challenging. But if we believe that, we will draw to us difficulties and challenges. When you wake up in the morning, you wake up with a heart that's filled with joy. What will be the magic today? What will I create that's fun and spontaneous and exciting? If you wake up in the morning and go, oh, woe is me, it's going to be another day, then you're going to meet Eeyore and all the other Eeyores in the world. They're having a very difficult day. Your choices, my friends. And you have the tools, you have the consciousness, you have the awareness to do anything you choose, simply by focusing attention and imagination. So one of the things that assists us greatly in this calling forth of Source is our breath work, because once again, we're focusing attention upon the breath as source arising from out of the open doorway. And then with our focused imagination, we then collapse it into liquid, effervescent golden light, just like the sun. That's all the sun is doing, is this great being of consciousness that has nothing but joy and collapsing itself into sunlit radiance that feeds and nourishes the planet. Every plant, every animal, your entire body, it exists because the sun, this great being, has such joy in simply collapsing its consciousness into living light. And so it's simply a choice. So the breath work, I'll simply take you through about 5 minutes of breath work. By simply closing the eyes, we feel the body relaxing. And with each breath, we feel the body letting go, honoring and loving, collapsing the body ocean into love and peace. I am love, I am light. We bring our attention to the heart chakra at the sternum, and with our deep in breath, breathing in, we're really summoning from the open doorway within the heart, Source. And as Source arises forth with the breath, we see and feel it as golden, effervescent light, sparkling, flowing through the body and out into the world. We always enjoy having the body nice and straight, as though there is a string at the top of the head. The spinal column is the core around which the star tetrahedron turns. And with each deep belly breathing, feeling and seeing from the open doorway, Source arising forth, I know and I feel that I am summoning Source. That's my belief, and so shall it be. And with a gentle letting go of breath, I see and feel it as sparkling, effervescent light. The cells and tissues of my body are sparkling, being healed and renewed from inside out. I am the living light. And I breathe slowly and deeply, body relaxed, my mind collapsing the waveform of spirit from my heart into living sunlight. I am the light. With enough true focus and tension, you could ignite the body into living light. Just as the man did Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration, I am the light. The supreme ability to focus attention and imagine, feel, image, feel. I summon the living ocean of source oneness from my heart. From inside out, source arises forth to become sparkling and effervescent light. It heals and renews my body, nourishes my mind and heart, and flows out into the world as a gift. And gently and effortlessly, I breathe source. And with each breath, my body is being healed and renewed. I am the light. And another deep breath. And in your timing as it feels comfortable, to feel yourself slowly coming back more and more into the now. The other important aspect of summoning source from the open doorway is that when it arises forth and then touches the facets of the spinning star, it then is magnified. It's just as the sun, when it shines through a beautiful crystal, the light is magnified. And in the same way, when source arises forth from the open doorway, what we focus upon and what we image in, imagine, it then is magnified through the many facets of the spinning star. And this is why it is called the Christ prism. Not a person, but the magic mechanism of manifestation. All life, from the atom to the earth to the sun to all creation, is a star tetrahedron. It's just that humans yet have not yet recognized that aspect of themselves. It's already within. It's simply been overshadowed and covered with beliefs. And that's what we then feel as emotion. And as we go in and find and feel the emotion, bring the golden liquid light down through, find that childlike part and bring love. The emotion, just like fog on a meadow, disappears. And more love and more magic is with us each day. So I'll take you through the formulation of the star tetrahedron, and then I will join with you, and we will create light activation within and all around. So once again, by simply closing the eyes, we can feel the body relaxing from the breath work. And then we slowly and gently bring our attention between the eyebrows. We imagine that we can draw a line straight back. Within the approximate center point of the head, we image in, we focus, and ignite the light of the soul. Sacred divine light, I am. I gently focus attention and imagination to the heart chakra at the sternum, and I illuminate what already exists, the perfection of the star tetrahedron. I image in the upper triangulation moving right to left. I love the lower triangulation moving left to right. And as the star tetrahedron turns, the sacred doorway within the center, the jewel in the lotus within the heart opens wide. And source arises forth, shining in front, in back, up and all around. I am the light. I will join with you, and we will create light activation. And in your timing, as it feels comfortable, you can slowly allow yourself to come back into the now. Well, thank you very much, my friend. That was a great swim within the ocean of eternalness. It's kind of fun that we are walking water, 85% water. And we originally, as one-celled amoebas, came out of the ocean. So we're walking ocean. Looks like we're source walking around. So know that, feel that, be that, focus on that, because you already are that. Love you and see you in 2 weeks. Rain or shine, kids. Ciao.